Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Katie. In today's video we are going to be cooking up some things from scratch in the kitchen, some delicious meals for my family. On this morning we got some snow and it is the day after Christmas. We missed a white Christmas, but it still arrived in time for the new year. So as you saw, Bodhi, my little 4-year-old, was out there shoveling the snow. He got a new snow shovel for Christmas because he loves to be a big helper. So he got a snow shovel, and then he also got a whisk for Christmas so he can help me scramble up the eggs for breakfast in the morning. He loves to help out in the kitchen as well. On this day for breakfast, I am getting together some fried potatoes. So what I've done is taken some leftover baked potatoes from the previous day. I have sliced up an onion and sliced up some yellow pepper and sauteed those in the pan, and then cubed up the baked potatoes and threw those in the pan as well. Right now I'm seasoning it all with the Redmond's Real Salt seasoned salt. It's my favorite salt seasoning on the market. Redmond also carries a variety of seasoning blends, so check out the link down below in this video's description and use code ROWESRISING to save yourself 15% off. It's the best deal on the internet. I also like to drink coffee, and I'm on a decaf coffee kick, and recently I discovered something delicious and veteran owned and operated. I want to introduce to you Brave Bean Coffee Company. It's a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business that believes in empowering the sense of community found in the camaraderie of sharing the sheer wonderfulness of coffee. They are dedicated to roasting excellence in order to deliver the absolute best coffee the world has to offer, while honoring the service of veterans and others who sacrifice for us all. Brave Bean Coffee is there for those of us who can't go a day without the good stuff. For every bag of Brave Beans sold, they give back to local communities and veterans groups that honor the spirit of service that so defines them. While drinking your daily cup of joe, you can support disabled veteran families like mine by visiting www.bravebeancoffee.com/ROWESRISING. and get free shipping on orders over $20 using my code ROWESRISING. Brave Bean Coffee was generous and sent over vertical takeoff their dark roast, First Responder, that's their medium roast, Sergeant's Sip for espresso, and my go-to, the Twilight Tonic, which is their decaffeinated blend. It's like a medium roast without the jitters. In our home, every day is Veterans Appreciation Day. I would like to take this moment to thank all of our service members, all of our first responders, veterans, and retired service members. Thank you so much for your service and your sacrifice for your communities and our great country. We appreciate you. Cup of joe in hand, breakfast is ready, so we are serving up quiche with potatoes. Next up, I want to make the kids a special treat. I'm going to make them some mincemeat hand pies. Mincemeat pies are something that my mother used to make for us around the holidays, and so I am making these post-Christmas as a special treat for my kiddos, and I am making it easy with one of those pre-made roll-out pie crusts. It's just making my life easy these days. I also used these to make the quiche. It's just a one-step wonder. Wow, love these pie crusts. Love that for me, this mama of 5. But if you'd like to make one from scratch, there is a recipe on my channel. Yes, there is. I had my father visit us and he showed us how to make the perfect pie crust. So you definitely want to watch that for all of his tips and tricks. So what we did was we cut out little rounds and put our filling in the middle, and then we coat one side of the round in a half moon with egg whites, and then we're gonna fold it over in half, and with a fork we are pressing the dough and sealing the edges with the egg whites and by crimping the edges down with the fork. And we're gonna do this to all of these, and then we're gonna stab the top with a fork or with a toothpick and poke little holes in the top so that the hot air can escape, so that our little hand pies don't just blow up. That tends to be a big mess, and when mincemeat oozes out of these, it does burn pretty quickly because of the sugar content. So That's a recipe for disaster. You want to make sure that you allow these to breathe a little bit. So once we get them all crimped up, we currently have the oven preheating at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. You could probably get away with 350. In fact, I think it's recommended to bake at 350. I've also seen recipes where you start out the first few minutes at 400 and then turn it down to 350. But we'll get there in just a second. You're gonna baste the top of these with an egg wash. That's gonna give them a nice, beautiful, shiny brown color. And this is the None Such brand of mincemeat that I have purchased at the store from the international section in the grocery store. It's usually with all of the UK, British imported foods. So if you're looking for that, you wanna give it a try. You can also make mincemeat from scratch. You want to start a couple days in advance because you've got to soak all your dried fruits. And didn't they turn out just beautiful, perfect little pies? You can also make them in the muffin tins, which I showed you back at Thanksgiving. And then I'm going to whip up some leaven. And at first I was going to make some sourdough bread. Okay, let's be honest here. I was going to start out making some sourdough bread, and then I decided the next day I was going to turn it into pancakes. So right here, you're gonna see that I'm measuring it out for a sourdough loaf, but basically what you're doing is equal parts flour and water and a couple of tablespoons or a quarter of a cup sourdough starter, depending on what you're making. So that's what I'm doing here, equal parts flour and water. And if I were to go back in time, I would have filmed myself doubling it because that's what I ended up doing. I ended up making a bunch extra so I could have a whole bunch of sourdough starter, or leaven as we call it, the leavening agent of our breads and our pancakes and things like that. So what we're gonna do is let this sit on the countertop overnight, and then in the morning it's gonna be so delicious and bubbly. Look at that. It has really risen up in my covered measuring, this is like an 8-cup measuring cup that has a lid on it, and I can put a link for it down below in this video's description. I use it all the time to make my sourdough goodies. So what we're gonna do is crack a couple of eggs into this sourdough starter, basically is what it is, or your leaven, whatever you wanna call it. We're just using sourdough starter here. And a lot of times with your sourdough pancakes, you can use a little bit of starter and you can use some flour and do the whole nine and go from there and have your sourdough pancakes in the morning. But I like to make all my batter the night before, not all the batter, but I like to make my flour, water, sourdough starter portion the night before. We like our batter extra sour, so I just go ahead and mix it all up. And then the next day is when I add the eggs, the milk, the vanilla. You don't have to add vanilla if you don't want to, the salt, the baking soda, the baking powder, all of the things to make it pancakes. So that's what you see me doing here, really in no particular measurement or fashion. I just go online and I'll read 3 or 4 sourdough pancake recipes and I'll say, okay, what do I have the gumption for today? And I look around at my ingredients and I just throw everything in my vessel and mix it up and make sure that I get a pancake type consistency for my batter. But you will know, if you are new to sourdough batter tends to be very gelatinousy, but it's not gelatin. It's just the way that the dough and the gluten is. So it's going to be kind of stringy, slimy looking when you mix it up, and it will kind of hang on to the spoon for a minute before drip dropping, flip plopping off of there. So you're going to see that in a minute. I'm going to show you that it doesn't exactly pour like a pancake batter. It's more of a slime, but it works great. It really does. It works great. So don't be alarmed at the slimy consistency. That's just how it is when you do this particular method. You'll see as I'm mixing it, it's just tends to look slimy, but I do use a ladle and I can ladle the slime into my hot greased cast iron skillet. And that's what we're going to do here in just a moment. I put my cast iron skillets on the stove about 10 minutes-ish on low heat before I'm ready to actually start cooking. You want to make sure that your cast iron is nice and evenly heated, and then when you put your fat in the skillet, you want to make sure it's sizzling hot. And then turn your heat down once you've established a nice hot skillet, because they do hold heat quite well and the heat can get away from you fairly quickly. But I just turn it down to medium-low when I am making pancakes. And because I've got two skillets here going, I noticed the one on the left was actually a little bit cooler than the one on the right, but that's all right. I'm gonna work with it. It'll all balance out. This is a new to me stove. In the last 8 months we moved here, and I am used to using gas fire to cook my food and to use my cast iron skillets. So it's been a bit of a learning curve, and then even with that, it's these burners heat differently on the same setting, so that's interesting also. So something I'm getting accustomed to, but you want to make sure that you are cooking your pancakes so that they're bubbling up on top and that they are cooked halfway through before you flip them. Otherwise, you will end up with a burnt pancake that is raw in the middle. So pay attention to your edges, and when they start to cook around the edges pretty well, then you can flip your pancakes and keep some fat in the pan. After every batch of pancakes, I put more fat in the pan, and my fat of choice on this day is coconut oil because we have a child that cannot do dairy. So we used the almond milk in these pancakes, and then we're using coconut oil as our fat to fry up these pancakes. And as you can see, they are not sticking to my cast iron skillets. These skillets are beautifully seasoned, and if you have a skillet that is well kept and beautifully seasoned, even if it's not well kept, you can restore your cast iron if you find one at the thrift store or if you have one handed down to you. I have a whole video on cast iron restoration so that you can get your cast iron working like a non-stick skillet should work. And this is how we served up our pancakes, with blueberries, butter for those that can have it, and some syrup. I'm making a cranberry vinaigrette. We've got cranberry sauce, herbes de Provence, pepper, salt, and we're gonna put in some apple cider vinegar in there. Oh, that's a piece of herb. And then we're gonna blend this up in the blender real quick and have an apple cider vinaigrette for our salad that we're getting ready to have. Aioli or something yummy, except it doesn't have any raw egg in it. Alright, so lunch is some chicken with salad fixings, some dressing. If I'm not back.